Spider-Man 4 rumors. Okay, so I watched a video yesterday about Spider-Man 4 stuff. So I want to run these apparent rumors by you, Comic Cut. You tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, and I was gonna make a video on this, but I'll just talk about it here just because we're on the pod. So basically, the rumor is that they're going to dig really deep on how Peter got his powers. And basically, um, so I was doing some backstories, and a lot of people are speculating that Tony found out about Peter because he hacked into all of Shield's files. And basically, remember in Winter Soldier when Natasha Romanoff like released all of Shield stuff?
Yeah.
Tony ended up finding out about Peter through there because Nick Fury was basically keeping tabs on all of the superhuman people there. And there's a big rumor that Peter got bit at the Stark Expo. And basically like and not the one in Cali, but apparently there's another Stark Expo in New York, and Peter was at the Stark Expo for a field trip, and he ended up getting bitten there. And so but then there's another rumor talking about that Madam Web gave him his powers in the MCU.
First of all,
And I don't think that's true. I think that's cap. I think that a lot of people are just trying to put out those Madam Web rumors only because the movie is about to drop. But this is what I did hear about Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man 4, he's not getting the symbiote, and I'm actually happy about that because in the comics he first gets the symbiote in Secret Wars. So, and I actually want that to happen. I think that will be very true to the story, which one I'm happy that Mark Webb, or not Mark Webb, whoever the director is. I didn't think he did the best job with Spider-Man after Homecoming. Anyways, topic for another day. But yeah, so apparently they're going to do a really like grounded story, and the rumor is that Harry is going to come back is really like getting really hard. Like, I mean, it's getting very like popular, and basically going off of the idea that Peter and Harry were friends, and Harry just moved away randomly, and now Harry's back. And I think that, with Spider-Man No Way Home kind of exiting out Ned out of the story, I would love to see someone come back like a Harry Osborn to kind of give us that traditional Spider-Man movie. How do you feel about that?
we're going to heal the world. No, I love. First of all, I love the Harry piece, and there's so many times in the story where Harry goes away. It's usually a secret reason because he's sick or Norman has something going on with him. But I love that. I'd love to see Harry Osborn back with Spider-Man. I think that the entire world wants to see a grounded Spider-Man story. And I think that a grounded Spider-Man story is like one. I think that the MCU is like one of the big things that they're missing, and they could really turn their, fanfare around really quickly with is street level projects. And obviously they have Daredevil coming out. Spider-Man is the perfect guy for it. He's already there. He's the number one Marvel guy, like in terms of popularity, period. So I love the Harry idea. I would love to get a grounded movie. But what I also like, I don't know how much I like the Stark Expo idea. But I guess if they're going to touch on his origin, they can't really have it be at Oscorp because Norman Osborn wasn't in their universe and he already came in through No Way Home, which is what it is.
I'd rather them just leave it alone at that point.
It sucks because it was great for that movie, but they pigeonholed themselves with the way they did it. And I don't want them to touch on, I don't think that that's something you play with. You don't play with Spider-Man's origin story. Like, there's a lot of things you could do and change things up and tweak it, but like, you do not touch his origin story. That's just like foul. And the other thing is about his origin and the way he got the powers. So I really, really hope that they use. So there's what I consider to be the greatest Spider-Man run of all time is the J. Michael Straczynski run. And in that run, there's a guy named Ezekiel. And Ezekiel is a really wealthy guy. He's got his own company, but he also has a spider totem. And a spider totem is like their token of spider powers. And he tries to explain to Peter, spoiler alert, for a while about his powers. And like, it wasn't really an accident and you were chosen for a reason. And it ends up becoming like the sickest story ever. I really hope that they do something with Ezekiel. I've wanted to see Ezekiel in a Spider-Man movie for a long time. I also think that a lot of people are sleeping on Madam Web. Madam Web is actually a really dope character. There's a lot of really cool comics with her in it. And I think that people are overlooking it because there's not so much hype on Sony making the ancillary character movies, because they fumbled a couple of them. And they might fumble the Madam Web one, they might not, but she is a dope character that gets overlooked a lot. But I do think that if they're going to do something with his origin and the spider totem, the Ezekiel story is the way to go. It's kind of grounded, the concepts are a bit larger than life, so it could fit in with the MCU nicely. And as much as it would be cool to see him get the black suit in Secret Wars, I don't think you'd do the black suit in Spider-Man 4 anyway, but I would like to see a black suit Spider-Man movie. And in order to see that, it would have to come before Secret Wars, because Secret Wars is obviously if it is going to be the reboot or whatever the case may be, but there's a lot of cool Spider-Man stories to take from. And I think the J. Michael Straczynski is a really grounded run. There's a lot to go off of there. But I don't think they're dumb enough to touch the origin story and make it a Stark Expo. I think that's crazy. And it's like comic blasphemy.
Yeah, and another really big part of the plot that apparently is going to be like the biggest thing is obviously Kingpin's going to probably become mayor at the end of Daredevil, and the Spider-Man movie is going to touch on how Kingpin's like cracking down on vigilantes. And to me, that's going to make the best Spider-Man film of all time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. And that's the other thing about the street level stuff is like everyone's like, oh, Avengers, what's the next Avengers going to be? Like the MCU could do team up movies that aren't Avengers. Like
like Civil War.
But that aren't the Avengers roster, like period. Like the story that Stevie's talking about right now is called Devil's Ring, and it's a Marvel comic event. I think it's like 2 years old at this point, so it's still really new. But Spider-Man's in it. I think it might have been Miles and not Peter, but they could change that. Daredevil's in it, Elektra's in it, Luke Cage is in it.
Everybody.
Yeah, and so my point is like they could do a street level team up movie and do the Devil's Reign storyline, and like that kind of movie would do Avengers numbers, and people would be talking about it like an all-time great. Considering it's done correctly and well, but it has the potential to be that. So, and I just think that with the Avengers roster, no one's really excited about it right now. Like, I think street level is the way to go.